Hello, you are tuned in to the Autism Athletics podcast. Please remember that I'm on YouTube and social media, and please like and subscribe. And thank you so much for listening or watching. So today I have with me Rett Russell, who played high school and college football and is now a recruiter. So let's get into it.
Yeah, man.
All right. So did you grow up liking and playing sports?
Yeah, I come from a big sports family. My dad played baseball, my mom played basketball, my sister played volleyball. So sports was always something that we were really big into growing up. So I kind of have that background.
Oh, that's awesome. What sports did you grow up playing?
Shoot, I grew up. I played. I think my first sport was soccer. Maybe I played a lot of t-ball. Right. I played soccer for only 1 year. I didn't like getting kicked in the shins. I played a little bit of basketball growing up, and I played a lot of baseball and a lot of football.
Yeah. What would you say was your main sport?
Growing up, my main sport was baseball. I always wanted to be a baseball player. Football wasn't really my main sport until like my senior year of high school.
Oh, wow. So what made you go into football?
When I was a junior in high school, I had a good season playing football, and I started to get recruited to play football, and I hadn't got recruited to play for baseball yet, so I just kind of stuck with football since that was the track that I had already kind of gotten on, and that's where I was getting all the love from.
You said you didn't start playing football till your junior year?
No, that's when I started getting serious about it. I
Oh,
started playing. I started playing when I was in sixth grade or fifth grade, I think. Yeah.
oh, okay. And
Yep.
what positions did you play?
So, all right, growing up, when I was young, I played a lot of wide receiver. And then when we got into high school, my freshman year, I played wide receiver and outside linebacker. All right, and then at Alatoona, which is where I played high school, they made us pick a side of the ball, so I couldn't do both. So I chose to play defensive back my sophomore year, and so I played DB my sophomore year through my senior year. And that's kind of how I got stuck on defense. I liked playing defense a lot more than I liked offense. I wanted to be the hitter, and I did not want to be the hitty. The hitty, you know.
Was high school the highest level you played at?
No, I played in college too. So I played at after high school. I went to play at Wofford College. It's a small school in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Play in the Southern Conference. It's a really old, really nice school. I enjoyed it a lot. And then after Wofford, I transferred to the Citadel, and I played 2 final years there. So I had 6 total years of college football. I was blessed to play Division I football all 6 years. And I got lucky with those 6 years. So I had my redshirt freshman year. My first year I redshirted. And then my sophomore year was the COVID, or my junior year was the COVID season. So we missed that year entirely. So the NCAA gave it back to us. So I was lucky enough to have 6 years. So I got to finish grad school still playing football, which was awesome.
Did you play DB in college too?
When I first got to college, I started out playing outside linebacker, all right, because I was a little bit big for a DB. Because I was a little bit tall for a DB. I'm 6'4", all right, and I wasn't heavy enough to play outside linebacker, but that's where they put me. So I played outside linebacker for those 4 years I was at Wofford, and then when I transferred to the Citadel, I played safety.
So what was that like transitioning to a different position?
It was fine. They asked me to do a lot of the same things. I was like an in the box safety. I wasn't playing like the post very much. I was more towards the line of scrimmage a lot of the time. It was like a nickel position out there in the overhang. So there was a lot of carryover, but it was slight differences.
What about when you first switched to linebacker?
That was weird because I'd played high school ball and I was a DB in high school. I had never been that close to the line of scrimmage before, and those guys, those offensive linemen in college are enormous. I had never had to pass rush before. I remember my freshman year; it was during our fall camp. I didn't know the first thing about pass rushing, and I go up against one of our offensive linemen, and he absolutely turned me into like a puddle of goo on the field. He hit me so hard I couldn't get around him. I was like, man, listen, these slow fat guys, it's gonna be easy. But those guys, it was impossible to get around them. Of course, I learned through the years, but it was when I first started, I had no idea how to play at the line of scrimmage. So that was a tough transition for sure.
So you said you played linebacker. You were like a pass rusher.
Sometimes, yeah, on third downs, I would go into pass rush, but it was the Sam linebacker position. So I was to the field. I was the field overhang in our defense. So I was playing out in space a lot, covering wide receivers, but I was also the force player to the field. So it was a good mix of both, DB and linebacker.
Yeah. So just explain to the audience like the different. Like I know there's multiple linebackers on the team. So what are the different?
The Sam linebacker. So that was the position that I played. It's usually to the field, and it's the farthest outside. Right, that's one of the outside linebackers. And people nowadays are running 4-2-5 defenses, 4 D linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 DBs. A lot of the time, they're calling that 5th DB the nickel, and in reality, that's depending on what you do. That's also the Sam linebacker. That's kind of how it's evolved. So that position has to do a lot of coverage. You're out there in between the number 2 wide receiver and the line of scrimmage, or you'll be in between the number 2 and the number 3 wide receiver. A lot of the time, that's the flat defender out there towards the field side numbers. And then you're the force player to the line of scrimmage on any runs that are going to the field. So you'll have to go up and force the run, take on that offensive tackle or that tight end, and make that run fill back inside.
All right. Well, thanks for educating our audience and even me on that.
Absolutely, man. That's what I enjoy talking about.
Oh, that's awesome. So, why did you transfer from Wofford to Citadel?
So after I graduated from Wofford, they don't have a grad school, and I had 2 years of eligibility left, so I needed to get those last 2 years of school in. I wanted to go to grad school. I wanted to get an MBA. So I decided that the best use of my time would be to transfer. I really liked Charleston. I'd only been for away games because the Citadel's in the same conference as Wofford. So I'd only been to Charleston for away games to play against the Citadel, but I enjoyed it down there. I thought it was a beautiful city. I had a couple of friends on the team that told me they really liked it there. And being a grad student in Charleston, there wasn't much better than that, man. They took really good care of us. So I had a really good 2 years down there. But the main reason that I transferred was because of the grad school thing. I wanted to go get another degree.
Was it weird when you had to play Wofford?
Yeah, it was weird. But you know what? I had such a good time, and I had a really good game. That was nice. But like all my old friends, were on the team still. Some of the guys that I had come in with, they had stayed, and they had taken their 5th year there instead of transferring out. So it was weird to play against those guys, but it was really cool to be on the other side. It was really fun.
So now, you're part of with Citadel. You're part of the recruiting, right?
Yeah. So after I got done playing, so my 6th year was our head coach's first year as the head coach at the Citadel. We had a head coaching change between my 5th and 6th year. Coach Drayton came in, and I really enjoyed playing for him. So when my season was over, I volunteered. I was a volunteer, kind of in an administrative role for 8 months, from January all the way up until August. I volunteered with our director of football operations. Then he ended up leaving, and so they hired me since I had been around. I got really lucky. Usually, it takes a long time to find that first job, especially in college football. But I got really lucky. I fell right into it. I started, my very first day was the first day of camp, which is a hectic time. So I started August 1st, 2024, as the director of football operations and player personnel for the Citadel. And I'll be going into my 3rd season here in the next couple of months. So I enjoy it a lot. I love it. It's a great job.
Yeah. So, you said director of football operations.
Yeah, director of football operations and player personnel.
All right. So what do you do for that?
Okay, so it's kind of two roles. First, I'll start with the operations side. Operations handles all of the logistics of the team, all the team meals, the hotels, the travel, all that kind of stuff. And then the personnel side is more geared toward like the recruiting, the official visits, the transfers, all that kind of stuff. So I do a lot. I like to tell people that if it happens off of the field, I'm in charge of it. That's that's
Yeah.
not quite the case, but it's pretty close. So
Yeah.
anything that doesn't happen on a Saturday in the fall, that just ask me about it.
So, what's recruiting like? How does that process work?
Recruiting is awesome. It's some coaches don't like it very much. They see it, they would rather be doing scheme or whatever. I love it. So I'll tell you this story. When I got out of high school, all right, I had to walk on to Wofford, so I didn't have a scholarship. Um, and I felt like I had been under recruited, and I felt like I deserved a scholarship at that point, and I was a good player. But I had to work really hard, and I ended up getting a scholarship after my sophomore year, and I had one, all the rest of the way through my time at the Citadel too. And I feel like there's a lot of guys out there that have that same feeling, that feel like they're overlooked a little bit, and people don't, believe in them and stuff like that. And that's kind of why I do this. I want to find those guys that are overlooked, that don't have the same offers and the same love that some of these other guys have, because they end up being really good players too. So that's kind of why I do it. Recruiting is really fun. It's kind of tedious. Think about it. There's probably 80 kids on a high school football team, depending on where you're from. I know there was at least 80 on my high school football team, and there were 16 teams just in Cobb County, right? So multiply that by however many counties are in Georgia, however many counties are in South Carolina. There's thousands upon thousands of high school football players out there. So it gets to be tedious sometimes just watching tape over and over and over again. But I really like finding those guys that are overlooked. So the way we kind of do it, we start with South Carolina, and we really start with the area surrounding the Citadel. So when we got finished with signing day for the class of 2026, which was February this year, we signed all those guys. We immediately started working on the class of 2027. So these rising seniors that are coming in now, I watched everybody in the low country of South Carolina, just to start off and get a feel of what we've got in the state right now. And then we branched off. Our coaches went all over the state. Our coaches go out into every high school in the state, get the report sheets from the coaches, right, of like who their star players are and what their stats are, how tall they are, how much they weigh, how fast they run, all that kind of stuff. They come back and we put that all into a database. All right. And then we spend the next, few weeks watching all those kids. We're like, okay, well, I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. This kid from my area is a really good player. And so you kind of build your recruiting board based off of, I like this kid the best. And then these are the next, 3 or 4 guys in that position in my area. So all the coaches, they've got their own areas that they go recruit, and then we put it all together.
So if I was one of the recruits you were looking at, how would I know you're interested in me? Would you call me? Would you be at the game? What would you do?
Right now, a lot of it goes through Twitter for recruits. So high schoolers really need to have a Twitter. I tell kids like this. I tell kids all the time, like, if you don't have a Twitter, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities, because that's where the coaches are. For whatever reason, I don't know why Twitter is the platform, but that's kind of what they chose. Even back when I was in high school, like, you had to have a Twitter. So I find a lot of kids on Twitter. Every recruiting service that we use will share with us the recruits' Twitter names. And then, like, if there's a kid that I like, I'll follow them on Twitter. Then they'll follow me back, and I'll shoot them a message over DM and invite them to come onto campus and meet the coaches and stuff like that. So right now, we're in the middle of the summer, so we've got our summer prospect camps. So all these guys that we like, we're getting on Twitter and shooting them messages on DMs and stuff like that. We'll give them our phone number. We'll get on the phone with them, and then we'll invite them to camp over the summer, so we can see what they look like in person and see them run around.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. What type of players are you looking for right now?
So it depends on the position. What position do you think? Right, like the type of kid that we're looking for at wide receiver is a little bit different than the D lineman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll go with I do a lot with the wide receivers. So I'll talk about wide receivers. Wide receivers, we've got them broken up into kind of three different buckets, I guess you can call it. You've got the tall kid that you can play X, your X receiver, right? And that kid's usually like 6'2" and above. We'd like him to be 6'3" or 6'4". Usually that kid's taller, bigger body that you can throw a jump ball to. You can line him up all the way out there on the numbers and throw the ball to him. And then you've got your slot wide receivers, which are the shorter guys. They're going to be a little bit more quick twitch, side to side movement. They're going to be able to get open in the middle of the field and beat man. A lot of the time, you can line them up in the backfield. We line our slots up in the backfield a lot of the time to do some option stuff with those guys. So that's kind of the second bucket is the slot wide receiver. And then the third one is your steady Eddie possession wide receiver who's going to run good routes, get open, catch the ball. He probably isn't going to have a ton of yards after the catch. He's not going to burn you with his speed, but he's always going to run the right route, catch the ball when it's thrown to him, and he'll be open because he runs good routes.
So correct. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
All right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Citadel, do y'all run the triple option?
So that's we run option scheme. The Citadel used to be known for the triple option. Recently, we've kind of been doing a little bit differently. We're not under center like flex bone triple option anymore. We're in the gun. We run a lot of 11 personnel just like everybody else. So that's one running back and one tight end. We run some 20 personnel, 2 running backs, no tight ends, and everything's got an option principle to it. So we do run double and triple option out of the gun. Our offensive coordinator has kind of called it the flex coast offense because it's kind of a mixture of the flex bone and the West Coast style offense. So it's a little bit different than the regular triple option that you kind of think of when you think of the Citadel.
Oh wow, yeah, that's interesting. That's a pretty cool offense.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. We've got some really good athletes that we're going to get the ball in their hands this year. I'm excited to watch them run around. It kind of reminds me of Coastal Carolina was doing this a little bit a few years ago when they had Grayson McCall. They were doing similar stuff. It's not quite the same, but they were doing similar stuff with him. So we're trying to spread the ball out, get some guys out leveraged and pitch. Dive, hand the dive, pitch off of the overhang guys, stuff like that.
Okay. So honestly, that about wraps it up for all I got. But if you got anything else you want to say, you can.
Oh man. This has been really cool. I'm excited to be out on the podcast. I love talking about recruiting. We do a lot with recruiting. Our coaches work their tails off, bringing in transfers and stuff like that. That's one of the big things that's changed, in college football is all the transfers, and they keep changing the rules. So you never know what's going to happen year to year. But it's an exciting time to be in college football. I have a good time. We brought in a bunch of transfers. I think you're going to be good players. We've got some cadets coming back that are really good players as well. So I'm excited for our team this year. But who knows what college football is going to look like, but I'm excited to be in it. The nice thing about being in personnel is that college football, that's kind of where it's trending right now. Everybody wants to be like the NFL, and the NFL, the coaching is separate from the personnel side. So you've got the GM and the director of player personnel in the NFL, right? But in college, for a while, you haven't had that. Now they're starting to build these personnel departments that are completely focused on scouting, recruiting, evaluation, transfers, high school kids, junior college guys, all that kind of stuff. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time for me to be in college football and be in personnel because all those jobs are just exploding. The schools are adding them, every year. So there's a lot of opportunity out there, and I think I'm going to have a really good time doing it. I love it a lot. The operations part of my job. That's the other side of it. Not as fun, not as glamorous. Nobody cares what time the bus shows up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody cares how many hotel rooms you get as long as you get enough, right? So that stuff's not as exciting, but it needs to get done. But the personnel side is really, really fun, and I'm enjoying it a lot. So it's a good time to be in college football.
Yes. I know I said we were about to wrap it up, but one thing I forgot to talk about, explain how the transfer portal works, and especially for your school.
Okay, so for us, we're different than a lot of other schools, right? So because we're a military school, all of our undergraduate kids, they all have to go into the Corps of Cadets. So because of that, we have a hard time taking undergraduate transfers. Like lots of other schools, if somebody at Georgia has a really good year, they can transfer to wherever, for a bunch of NIL money, and they might be a freshman going into sophomore year. We can't take that kid. We can't take freshmen that are going to be sophomores unless they want to join the Corps Cadets. And a lot of those kids really don't want to join the Corps Cadets because that's just, it's military school. It's hard to convince people to wake up in the morning and march around and all that kind of stuff. So we deal heavily with graduate transfers. Those grad guys, that's what I was back in the day. Those guys don't have to go into the Corps Cadets. They don't do military stuff. They're just online grad students taking class and showing up to football practice. So we get a lot of those guys. Basically, the system is when they leave their old school, right? They'll go to their compliance officer and they'll say, "Hey, John, I want to go into the transfer portal." They fill out the form. Their compliance officer will put them in the transfer portal, right? Then everybody in the country can look them up on the transfer portal. But here's what a lot of people don't know is that it's just one big list of names. There's no information about these kids at all other than their name, what school they came from, and their NCAA ID number. It doesn't tell me their position, their height and weight, anything like that. So a lot of these kids that are going in the transfer portal, they go in and think, oh, well, everybody's going to know who I am, or at least the people who are looking for, quarterbacks are going to know who I am. And most of these guys, they go in and don't get a home because nobody knows who they are. And it's you got to have a dedicated personnel staff to comb through that transfer portal list. Because last year it was in the, I think it was over 12,000. I think it was. It was a ton. There was a ton of kids in the portal, and there's no way that you can watch them all unless you've got 5 to 10 people that's their whole job, right? So it's an interesting time because there's a lot of kids out there that can probably play that aren't going to have anywhere to play next year because they went in the portal, didn't have a plan, nobody knew who they were, and now they're sitting on their mom and dad's couch, missing their old school because they decided to transfer out. But then again, there's a lot of good opportunities for guys. Like we took a couple of guys who had really good seasons at the Division II level. We took some of those guys, and now they're going to play for us for their last year, maybe 2 years, and they're getting a little bit of money and a good opportunity to play Division I ball. So there's good opportunities, but there's also it's an easy way for you to screw up your career if you go in not knowing what you're doing.
Yeah. So now that really does wrap it up. I don't have any more questions, and you were awesome. And I just want to remind people to like and subscribe. You can find me at John Lewis, and I don't know if you can see in the background, but that's my gold logo if you're looking me up on social media or on YouTube. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Dude, thank you for having me. This has been awesome. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. See you.
See you, man.